Today you have heard many women speak. They spoke volumes of sharing their story and what that meant to them. Not one of them wasn't terrified. Not one. Not one of them didn't want to hit that send button. Their finger hovered over that thing for a long time. I would say probably every one of them hated me in a loving way, because I pushed them out of their comfort zone. I still do, yes, I do. But what you learned today is that when you do share your story and you let go, phenomenal things happen. When you acknowledge your story, because we have it here and we have it here. And it takes up space and it takes up space here. But when you acknowledge it, you go, okay. And I knew what happened to me. I remembered it vividly, what happened to me. But I had to acknowledge it. And then I had to accept it. That's tough. Rachel having to accept scoliosis. Susan having to accept that she was in foster care and couldn't find her father. That's a tough pill to swallow when you have to accept things. But when you accept it, all of a sudden, there's this change. And then the next thing you have to do is you have to embrace it. And now you're going to think, boy, this is really a whack job. Embracing this crap, how could you possibly embrace this? But you have to embrace it, because it made you who you are. It made you strong. It made you determined. It made you resilient. You may not feel those things, but it did, because you're all in this room, because you are strong, and you're strong, and you're strong. And when you embrace it, you can let it go, because it's not serving you anymore. And when you let it go, you create a shift in your body where beautiful things can now come in and flourish. Because before, when the beautiful things came in, the shit wagon came over and dumped on it. Pardon my French, English, but anyway. Because it was always shadowed by something else, always shadowed. But releasing it and embracing it changes everything. There isn't one woman in this room that has written their story that would say, I wish I didn't. Once they get past, it's not about me. It's about helping other women. It's about sharing. My story can change this person, and the ripple effect is phenomenal. So with that, I shall go on to my talk. Anyway. So we are all given choices in our work, in our life. We make good choices and we make bad choices. And the power in your story is phenomenal. You don't understand how big it is, how profound your stories are. They may not seem like a big story to you, or insignificant, or I can't believe it, or it's maybe a lie, or maybe it didn't happen. Did I just imagine it? So you can stay living in your small little bubble. And I lived in this bubble for a long time. Over 40 years I lived in that damn bubble. And I could see things on the outside of my bubble. I could see the world passing me by. But I couldn't figure out how to get out of the bubble. I couldn't figure out how to reach out and grab life. I was too afraid. I had shame and I had guilt. So I was forced to stay in that bubble. You know, you have that space in your brain, it's like a locked closet. And if you go into somebody's house, there's this door, and this is your brain. And there's clutter in this closet, and it's locked. And every day you have to walk past that closet. Every day you know what's behind that door. Every day that crap keeps multiplying. It keeps festering. It keeps growing. No matter where you go in your house, there's that damn locked door. Your locked door can be upstairs, it can be downstairs, it can be in your kitchen, it can be anywhere. But there's that damn locked door. And until you decide that you needed to clean out the closet, you will always have that locked door. And you live your life like this, not understanding what is wrong with my life. Why can't I have what she has? Why can't I have a better relationship? Why can't I have a better relationship with my children? A better relationship with this? A better relationship with yourself? Why can't I? Because of that damn locked door. And when you crack it open, it's scary, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It is scary as hell when you open up that locked door. But you have to remember one thing. The worst is already happened to you. It's already done. This is just crap. This is just the dust, the remnants. And you can clean that out. And as you clean it out, you're going to smell the stuff. You're going to feel the stuff. But you can throw it away because it cannot hurt you anymore. It does not have the power when you take it away. And pretty soon, there you are. You've walked through that door, and there is a whole new world out there. A world that you could not even imagine in your wildest dreams is out there. Your story is going to take you on a very powerful journey. And there are going to be times where you hate it and times that you're going to love it. But if you embrace it all the way, wow, what a wild carpet ride you're going to go on. Because I shared my story, all of the slides that you're going to see right now are because I shared my story. None of this stuff would have happened if I didn't share my story. And I can say that on a stack of Bibles, truer than true is. None of it would have happened without sharing my story. Now, I'm not saying my life was a terrible life. You know, I have beautiful daughters. You know, I had things. But I had that damn locked door. And if I wanted to change myself, I had to prove to my daughters that I was worthy. You do things for your kids that sometimes you don't do for yourself. Sharing my story was for myself, but it was also to stop the cycle for my children and my grandchildren. It's scary stepping off that step. It really is. But your children will rally behind you because you're sharing a piece of them that is so vulnerable and so real that they'll look at you like, holy crap, at least I hope so, and I'm going to take this out of context, and I'm sure Martina will tell me if I'm wrong, but holy shit, that's my mom!
Right, damn proud.
Damn proud. So because I shared my story, I'm an international best-selling author 4 times. International award-winning author. Book signings. All of that stuff because I shared my story. I created a documentary about my story. It is so powerful because I wanted to get the message out there to what this is all about. I wanted to take all of that negative that was swirling around there and turn it into something positive. And my positive was, I wanted to help other women like me. So I wanted it to create change for other women. I wanted other women to understand that if I can do it, you can do it. I'm no different than anybody else. I'm just an ordinary, everyday woman. But I wanted other women to feel empowered. And I wanted other women to know that they can have the life that they have no idea is out there waiting for them. So, none of these would have happened. I decided that, how can I help? So, what better way than jump out of a perfectly good airplane at 14,500 feet? And I did that because it was for a shelter to help women. I could have used a shelter like that. I lived in my car for 2 years. I could have had a place like that if I'd have known. So when I decided that I was going to take the leap of faith, something fundamentally happened. Because I shared my story, my daughter stood up and said, "Mom, we're jumping with you." That was the most incredible feeling that a mother could have, is when your children look at you and say, "I got your back, Mom." Goodness. Needless to say, I won't play the tape of me saying what I said when I jumped out of the plane. We can skip that part. And then this lady entered my life, and my life changed again. And I had read her book when I was in Mexico. Didn't know her. Somebody said to me, "Well, you should meet Joe Dibley." I said, "Yeah, okay, who is that?" So they said, we got introduced, and Joe said, "Well, you should come to my event." And I said, "No." Because I was ashamed. I had just released my book. So I made her meet me. And from there, everything else changed again. One person can make that difference in your life. One person. That's all it takes. It doesn't take thousands. It takes one person to stand up and say, "I see you and I care." That's all it takes. Needless to say, we do have a lot of fun, and we obviously have a thing about hats. Everywhere we go, I don't know what it is. When Joe and I get together, it's nonstop laughing. So I had won the international award, and Joe said to me, "Well, you're going, aren't you?" I'm going, "Well, no. Why would I want to do that?" Needless to say, she kicked me in the arse. And she says, "Have you ever been to Disney World?" Disney World, right? Yeah. And I said, "No." She said, "Well, I want to go." I said, "Well, I'll go." Like, sure. Next thing you say, that this two-day trip to Miami turned into a week. Yeah. So we hit Orlando, Florida on like nothing else is right. Our planes never connected. We were late. And we get into this hotel room that is supposed to be a really upscale hotel room. You sit on the bed, and your arse hits the floor. And then you go, "Ee, ee, 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 ee."
I thought I was in the wrong room when I entered.
So we get in there, and you literally lay on the bed, and it just folds over you. Yeah, you were like a taco. We started laughing, and we never stopped laughing for 7 days straight. Like, from the time we got up, and I was warned, "Oh, you're going to travel with Joe. Well, Joe needs to unwind. And Joe needs to work on her computer. And Joe's going to pace. And Joe doesn't really relax, because she does this all the time. So I'm just warning you. This is what happens when you travel with Joe. Crapola. We hit the bed at 1 o'clock laughing, and we woke up at 6 o'clock laughing, and we laughed all day long. She even fell asleep in the middle of Disney World, for God's sakes. We hit Kmart, and we decided that we needed to try on really ugly granny gowns with the big frock-off glasses and our tiaras that we had grabbed off the shelf. And this poor lady who is looking after the change room hears these women just killing themselves. I mean, just rolling on the floor laughing as she comes in there, and she has to have her picture taken with us. Needless to say, Kmart closed down right after that. I don't know if it had anything to do with the Canadians that were there, but yeah. So then we hit the Miami Book Fair. That would not have happened if I didn't share my story. And we met poor Susan Preston from England. who we were riding in a cab, and she thought, because Joe and I were killing ourselves laughing, and the taxi driver was laughing, Susan was, oh my God, we're going to die, and she's hanging off the ceiling and everything else and freaking out, and I'm just killing myself. And we're doing live videos, and we're just like here, because we were from Canada, hey? So, but that's just it. I would never have had this if I didn't share my story. Oh, and the geckos. And Larry and Mo. And standing on the stage, getting the award. Humbling, because I shared my story. And because Joe shared her story. I'm terrified of water. And I decided that, okay, I shared my story. I can take on the world. And I can conquer this fear of water, which, Tira, we're going to work on. You know, like we are. So I decided I'm going to go scuba diving or snorkeling. Well, that really didn't do well. And I won't tell you about that story. And then I tried it again. And I won't tell you about that story. And then I decided, well, okay, I've done snorkeling twice. I have survived. Maybe I should try scuba diving. Because here you are. I mean, you don't have to worry about drowning because you've got the thing there. Like, how hard can this be? Fabio, the Greek goddess, had to save me. And believe me, his name was Fabio. In Mexico. So then I decided, okay, I am not going to scuba dive ever again. I decided, well, we went to that island just off of Mexico that's Esmeralda and Rodrigo. And we go in a sailboat. And Rodrigo has dreadlocks. And, you know, this beard. And we get all the way out to the island. And he says, who wants to go to the island? Like, get on the boat and go to the island. Yeah, I'd like to do that. So we get off the sailboat into another boat, and we go over to the island. Problem is, there's no docks. I'm afraid of water. Their idea of a life jacket is wrap it around your waist and tie it tight. So you had to sit on the edge of the boat and go into the water. The waves are crashing and coming in and out. I almost drowned. Rodrigo saves me. So we have to get back onto the boat. So then he says, okay, now we are going to go snorkeling. Who wants to go snorkeling? There's 10 of us on this boat. Everybody was, yeah, we're going to go snorkeling. Sure, man. Guess who went frickin' snorkeling? One person. The problem is you had to jump off the sailboat into the water with your snorkel gear on. So Rodrigo is down there, come on, Brenda, come on. And I'm going, I already jumped off one boat and just about drowned. And everybody's on the boat, Brenda, Brenda. I'm sitting there thinking, you bunch of lily-livered chickens. So I jump off, and I'll just fast track 2 seconds. I decided that I wanted to kind of get more in shape, so I went to the swimming pool and I swam, and I did these things because my knees were bad, and chlorine does really weird things to your bathing suit. I'm going to leave you there. So we snorkel, and he has me tied here, and he gives me a rope, and he swims, and I'm swimming with him, and we're seeing all kinds of stuff, and it is great. I mean, it was the best snorkeling I had ever done. Had a great time till I had to get back on the boat. And I said to him, I said, how are we going to get on the boat? He says, well, I'll push you from your behind. I'm thinking, your hand is going to go up my arse. 4 feet. I'm not exactly a dainty lady. This is not happening. So he looks at me and he starts to laugh and he says, oh, come to the back of the boat. They have a ladder. They had a friggin' ladder. Why couldn't I use the ladder to get in the water? Seriously. So then, remember what chlorine does to your bathing suit? I'm crawling up the ladder. The waves are hitting you. You got your stupid little tubey thing around you. And Rodrigo is behind me. And I leave the water, but my bottoms don't. So needless to say, Rodrigo got a bird's eye view of my derriere. And then I didn't really realize it till I looked at the pictures the other day. And I'm crawling up. And all you can see is white breasts and this stupid tubey thing, and there's no top. Because somewhere along underneath that tubey thing is the top of my bathing suit. And I'm just so glad to get out of the bloody water that I really don't care that my boobs are hanging out. So my crack is hanging, my cleavage is hanging, and it was just like, yeah. That would never have happened if I didn't share my story. Great things happen when you share your story. May not really like it, but it does. Okay. Because I shared my story, Sacred Hearts was born. And Sacred Hearts was born because I wanted to share the story of my granddaughter that passed away when she was 7 days old. And you can't really write a book about somebody who's only been here for 7 days. So I thought, I'm going to write I'm going to just write a chapter, and I'm going to put it out to other people to see if they want to share stories. And people started to come, and they wanted to share stories. And Sacred Hearts was born. And now we're going into book 3, and we have authors for book 3. We're looking for authors for book 3 still. We've got some already for book 4. Sacred Hearts isn't about me. Sacred Hearts is about all of you. You are the face of Sacred Hearts. Your stories are the face of Sacred Hearts. I'm just a person who collects it. I wouldn't have gone to Hogwarts with Holly if I didn't share my story. Yeah, you can think that, Shorty. All you want. But when adrenaline kicks in and this Chevy gets going, I don't know. I think I can outdistance you. My legs are longer. I'll trip you. So we're in the Sitka Forest in Portland, Oregon, and they're absolutely stunning trees. And we decide, or I decided, and I made Holly come with me, because that's how it always works with me, that we're going to crawl through this tree, because it was like Harry Potter's Hogwarts. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't share my story. And neither would Holly. And I wouldn't have got to do Wrecking Ball. And I mean, here's this thing way up here, and Joe and everybody else is going, I said, I'm going to get on that thing. It gets up to here.
It's high.
It's high. So they're running around trying to find stumps for me to get on. Because, this girl here has got some curves. I decided, I'm a farm girl. I can do this. Joe, on the other hand, thought she was going to die by the look of her face. So I grab it and I get on there, and then I do my own Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball. Getting off was a bit complicated, but anyway. I wouldn't have gone to Miami with Marta and Dawn if I hadn't shared my story. Because going to Miami to the book awards, there was a NASCAR thing there. And all of a sudden, The big cauldron got us going, and here we are. We're doing alligator wrestling and ditching the boys and doing all kinds of stuff because I shared my story. Wouldn't have gone to Mexico to the Ignite You and Connect You retreat. Wouldn't have met the orphanage. Wouldn't have met the kids from the orphanage. Wouldn't have gone on to the arches. None of this would have happened if I didn't share my story. And saving my senoritas on their horses. Hell yeah. It is amazing when you open yourself up to the possibilities of the world. When you clean out the closet, get rid of the crap, and make room for beautiful and better things to come in. This is Adam and some of the kids. This is who we're helping. This is who we can make a difference with. And it's all because Jo shared her story, I shared my story. What's going to happen because you shared your story, and your story, and your story, and yours, and yours? The ripple effect is profound. Did a beautiful photo shoot, the ledge, because Deb said, this is what we should do. And I'm all for all kinds of ideas and great things, so there we are, sharing our stories. We would not be here today if that didn't happen. I went from that little girl who was traumatized at the age of 5 to believing that if I told anybody what had happened, my family was going to be killed. To this person. Why? Why, ladies? Because I shared my story. You go to Disney World and you see the castle where dreams come true. And when you share your story, dreams do come true. You can't dream the dreams that'll happen to you. It's not in your wheelhouse. It's not in your vision board. It's not in any of those things. Because life makes changes and turns and curves because you share your story. And it's like the tree of life. Dare to follow your dreams. It's the tree of life for a reason. It's not the tree of humbleness. It's not the tree of fear. It's not the tree of shame. This is a tree of life of hope, of dreams, of goals, aspirations. All of the positive things that you could possibly think of is your tree of life. Not all that other crap that is in there. Come in. Come on. Come in. Sharing is healing when you share it from your heart. That is the biggest thing to remember. Hey, you're sharing it from your heart.